Welcome back, everybody. And this is How Was the Race with Miguel. Today, we finally get to sit down with the married sisters, Melissa and Monica. These two have ran, Melissa. Melissa, how many marathons have you ran?
Tomorrow will be my 29th.
Alrighty, and then how many half marathons?
Oh gosh, I've lost count. It's over 50. It's might even be over 75. I don't even remember.
Okay, well, if it's over 75, that'll put you in the Hall of Fame category.
Oh, I'm there. You're definitely there.
Yes.
In the 80s.
You're in the 80s with the halves?
Mm-hmm.
Now, how many with the fulls?
27.
Okay, then that does put you in the Hall of Fame.
Oh,
Or, yes, the Hall of Fame category is 100 races of halves and fulls.
Oh,
okay. Yeah.
So over 100 is your Hall of Fame. Over 25 is going to be your veteran category. Below 25 and above 5-ish is going to be your journeyman, and below 5-ish is going to be your rookie.
According to whom?
Me.
I'm here for it.
I mean, it's just a way so that those listening to the podcast have a familiarization of the person I'm interviewing, how they know, how they have because it's not a mileage. It's not how many miles you've ran total.
Right.
You can run 4,000 miles and be a rookie because you never tied your laces and stepped on the starting line.
Right.
It's what to expect on race day. Because as we all know, for us who have ran many races, or if we ran 2 races or 1 race, we know that race day is different than going out for a run.
Oh, 100%.
So today we're going to be talking about the Detroit International Marathon, which is in, Detroit, Michigan.
And
It is officially called the Detroit Free Press Marathon.
Oh, yes.
and it's in Detroit, Michigan, but it's also in
Windsor, Ontario.
Canada. Yeah.
Ontario, Canada. Okay. And this is a truly international race, which in one of the early episodes, I had the California International Marathon, but it stays in California. So, I don't fully get why they call that an international marathon, because this one, you have to register, I believe, about 6 weeks prior, and you have to have a passport.
Yep, correct. You have to register with your passport number. You have to bring your passport to packet pickup, and then they strongly suggest you run with your passport, because if you don't have it and you get pulled over, your race is done.
Yeah, if you get pulled to the side.
If you look suspicious, I mean,
I always look suspicious.
Well, yeah, that's why I ran with my passport.
So while we talk about the race, once we get into everything, we're going to be today's beer that we're going to feature is the Decadent Dark Chocolate Ale from Atwater Brewery. This beer comes in at a nice low 5% ABV and a nice smooth 11 IBUs. This beer, of course, it's brewed in Detroit. It's a Northern English style beer. It has 3 different blended chocolates with varied depth. It's very good, very delicious. Even though it's lower on the ABVs for good old Miguel, I still give it a 4 out of 5 medals. So we're going to go ahead and enjoy the beer and talk about the Detroit Free Press Marathon, International Marathon. We're going to start with Melissa. How did you first hear about this race? Or unless Monica.
Well, I feel like it was something we heard about together. We had friends that had run it or were talking about running it, and it just was super interesting to know that you get to run into Canada. I just thought that was the coolest thing, that you get to cross the country line.
Well, and also I think it's worth noting that we live in Kansas City. I'm on the Missouri side. She's on the Kansas side. But our goal is to run a full marathon in every state. And so as we expand our purview of what would be interesting for us to run, this looked like a Michigan race that we should check out. And that's why we landed on that race.
And speaking of doing the 50 states and such, that's where, because in this, over the episodes, I'll talk about the married sisters quite a bunch.
Listen, I'm so honored. I didn't know you were mentioned.
Make cameos without knowing it.
Yeah. I met them while doing the Tulsa Route 66 marathon. We were doing shots of Rumple Mix, I think it was, off the shot ski.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we first met around mile 3 or 4 when someone had White Claws, and we pulled over, and then you pulled over with us, and then you ran with us.
And then we ran together for a few miles.
Yeah, because we were like, oh, someone else who likes to drink during a race.
Yeah.
All right.
It's instant connection.
Yeah.
But that was how the Married Sisters, the origin story of the Married Sisters, as we were running together shortly after the Rumplemans shot ski, I had mentioned something about when we got married, and you thought the we was referring to us.
Well, okay. We were talking about Tim Tams
Yes.
because I'd helped a guy who was doing a bicycle race, and he had cramped up, and he got in my car, and we were doing Tim Tam hand-ups, which as you passed other people that was still in the bicycle event, he was handing them Tim Tams. And somehow Tim Tams came up, and one of you was talking about eating Tim Tams on your honeymoon.
My honeymoon. Yeah, that was me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so y'all talk about
doing this, and nobody's going to be able to tell our voices apart.
Yeah, we sound the same. It's not our problem.
Very true. So that's why I thought, because you talked about the honeymoon, and then you talked about how many states y'all ran together,
Yeah.
and how many states y'all ran not together.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay. And like, I don't know. I don't care. Like,
Right on. Love.
yeah. So I was like, oh, so how long y'all been married? Or I thought, how long you been married? Or when's your anniversary? And you all came up with two different pieces of information.
Either we can't remember or can't agree on our anniversary, or we're married to different people. And there's the latter.
And it was the last.
We're like, no, we're sisters.
Like,
We were at each other's weddings, though.
okay. So, but that, I mean, and that's where because it was part of my 50 state adventure, part of your 50 state adventure.
Yep.
And then coming back to Detroit is part of your 50 state adventure.
Yes.
The registration, which normally the registration is something that's very mundane, and if you've done one or two races, you probably have a profile. You just sign it. But this one,
Links or run a track, sign up. Yeah.
But this one being doing the international portion, how was that? Do you remember if that was remarkably different?
We had to enter a passport number.
Yeah. Did we have to take I think we might have had to even do a picture of our picture page or something. Like, I feel like there was some extra.
There were a couple extra steps.
Or at least
for
driver's license.
that we were
we
were allowed out of the country and back into the country later.
Yeah, that'd be pretty bad if they let people start the race and not come in and out.
You know, I would have been mad if I got stuck in Canada.
You wouldn't have been?
If I got stuck in Canada,
Oh, I wouldn't have been mad.
I couldn't come back. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't have been mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Canada's cool. I'll say that.
The people were so nice, but we're not to that part yet. We'll talk about that.
But that was again to the selling point of running this race was we needed a Michigan race. We liked the time of year. We had an opening for a fall race, and the Canada aspect of it was a really compelling feature.
That's like the third weekend of October, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, which is the same weekend as it seems like almost every other race, like Kansas City, Des Moines, Baltimore, Columbus. Like, we've run so many races that same weekend, and so it was just another one that happened to be that third weekend. I think it was like the 17th and 18th. Yeah.
And that's the same weekend as the Grand Rapids Marathon.
Okay.
I'm trying to get into that race as well, which if you can't get into Detroit for the full and you're trained up for the full or whatever, the Grand Rapids Marathon, it's similar weather, I'd assume, because they're both in, I would say, like southernish Michigan. They're, it's not like up in the mid.
You really showing us your hand and doing the math.
I'm showing myself that, trying to figure it out.
I will say, it's spoiler alert, but I am going to need a full in Michigan. So maybe Grand Rapids is my move.
There you go.
Yeah.
It is a nice race. And that's why, because I did the Detroit International. Well, I did the domestic half.
Yep.
And I did that back in, I think, 17 or 18. So I wanted to get a full in, and I had an opportunity more than once to pace the Detroit full, but I didn't want to. I wanted to, as part of my 50 state journey for halves and fulls, I want to see different parts of the state.
Yeah.
So I don't want to just see
like, here's the half version of this course, here's the full version of this course. Yeah, that makes sense.
But the neat thing about this is that the full course started at the same time. So this race has 3 different distances, essentially. I mean, or different races. So you have the full marathon, you have the international half marathon, and those 2 races start at the same time. And then you have the domestic half marathon, and that race starts later. So when I was going out with the international half marathon, I was finishing with the domestic half marathon. So it is times a little different because you have people that are with you the whole time, which is nice because if you're a back of the packer like I am, to know where to follow so that you don't get lost. But I felt like, I mean, we'll talk about it, but this race was really well marked. I thought that it was one of the better ones where I never felt like I was going to take the wrong turn.
And that's one of the things about doing fulls is that for a lot of people who have never, once you go to your first full, I always say, I mean, if you're doing like a 4 hour, it's a little different, but I say that you've never been as alone as you are as when you met that turn off.
Oh my gosh, that is like the moment of decision. Oh, it's like, do I really want to run? And some races are worse than others. Like you get all the way to the finish line of the half, essentially. Like when we did Lincoln, we were at mile 13. The last .1 went off to run their race, and then we had another
see the finish line.
Yeah, it was,
and we had to just do another 13 miles after that.
Yeah,
it's.
So my
demoralized.
Yeah.
Yes.
But like some of them, like Des Moines is like mile 2.5. So you don't, I mean, you're like, hey, I've got it in me. I'm going to run my full today. And then you don't even have a time to think about cutting back.
Yeah. But I mean, it's in my case, again, skipping ahead to the end for my Detroit experience was that I started the race thinking I might run a marathon, and I ended up running a half marathon that day, and I had to make some choices along the way. And so I was grateful that the split was late enough that I could definitively decide what I had to decide for what was right for my body that day versus splitting early and then wondering what if.
Yeah.
That
trying to figure out how do you get back to the start line.
Yeah.
Okay. So, now let's talk about the expo. The expo, it's so different. Well, I stayed at the official race hotel, which I think was it might have been a Hyatt, like an actual Hyatt.
Okay. Yeah, we stayed at a Hilton. I'm a Hilton honors girl, so I stay in every Hilton I can, and this one was no different. We stayed at a Hilton, but it was a block over from the start line.
Was it like the outside circular?
I can't remember.
I don't know. I don't remember, but it was on Lafayette because we kept singing a Hamilton song. Lafayette.
Singing the source when it rains. Yeah. No, it was. I mean, yeah, it was like 0.2 miles from the start line,
and then like a half mile from the expo. So it was one of those that was super walkable to everything. And the nice thing about when you're doing a race that starts downtown at any location is that a lot of times, I mean, and I think that's kind of the case here in Huntsville. I don't know if this is considered downtown, but there's a lot of hotels around. We've done some races that there's nothing around. When we did Colfax in Denver, there's not a hotel near the race. There's not a hotel near the expo.
Oh yeah, we had to Uber to and from the
race.
The race.
Yeah,
which I felt really bad getting into an Uber after running a marathon. And it was a hot marathon.
Yeah,
you were there.
Yeah,
we were.
That turned into like a red flag day or a yellow flag day.
Black or yellow. I mean, black or red.
It turned a black flag for me because I was a sweeper at that race.
Yeah.
And then after you came past a Mile High Stadium on the way in, because that was the year, it was hot that year.
Yep.
Yes.
I personally had ran like 3 or 4 marathons the last like 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you couldn't see the Front Range, the mountains.
Because the Canada wildfire smoke.
Yes.
That's
so
right.
all those things combined.
And the altitude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And you're at a freaking mile high. That all combined.
We were thinner and the sun felt hotter. I mean, we trained, it was like 50 degrees that day, and we trained in that, no problem. The 50 degrees felt so much hotter in Denver.
Well, I think it got above that, and it just they started telling us at the water stations to go
slower.
And we're like, if we go much slower, it's the cutoff.
Yeah, there's a strict 6-hour time limit.
And we
Well, I did miss the cutoff.
did too.
We did too.
They tried to pick us up on a golf cart, and we told them no, we want to finish. They're like, okay,
That was at mile 22.
there's not going to be any course support. You have to stop at stoplights. And we're like, okay. And there were some cops that were still out there that were kind of bending the rules and allowing us to run across. But yeah, I mean, we still got an official race time.
Crossed the finish line.
Yeah. And we weren't that much after 6 hours. I think it was
Yeah.
like 6:12 or something.
Right. Oh, yeah, totally.
It was like,
yeah.
it was,
We slowed down a little bit once we got to that point, too. I know this is not the race that we're meant to talk about on this episode.
we could talk about a lot of races.
This is tangents, right?
This is terrible.
This is what we do. Okay.
Less tangents with Melissa.
So you were asking about the expo,
Yes.
and I actually don't really recall anything that was different with this expo from any other race expo.
I mean, it was bigger than this one. Like the one here at Rocket City, it was very small. This one was big enough that there were aisles you could walk down, and there was plenty of.
There's a lot of merch.
There was a lot of race merch. So Brooks was one of the official sponsors, and so they had. I mean, I'm wearing a shirt. No, it's a podcast. You can't see it, but it says the world's only underwater mile because you run the mile 7 to 8 is the tunnel back to get to the United
It's
States.
the underwater tunnel.
Yeah, and so there was a lot of race-specific merch that I didn't see at today's marathon. But then there was you get all the usual vendors. You've got UFOs and Gooders and, their local run,
Yeah, the
whatever. Yeah, they're run 414.
There are other races in the area. Your typical. Yeah.
The one thing I always ask is that because I personally have experienced this, I got to while I was on the airplane, we were boarding, and it suddenly clicked that I didn't pack shorts. So I was headed to a marathon without shorts.
You're right.
So I always ask, if you
forgot to pack something at the expo,
if they lost your luggage, could you show up to assuming you had a credit card or debit card, whatever, you had the means to pay for these things, because usually there's discounts though, but still, would you be able to pick up a water, hydration, nutrition, a shirt, shorts, socks, underwear, and a hat?
I feel like this expo had that stuff.
Detroit, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, there was definitely clothes. And there was definitely all the,
The basics.
the basics.
And
You got your shoes too.
I have a reoccurring nightmare as a runner. This is like the same version of the anxiety dream that I had when I was like a kid, where like I show up to school naked. But in this case, I have a recurring dream where I show up to a race with no shoes.
Well, we had a friend that showed up to a race with 2 different shoes. And so Melody.
Oh God.
Yeah, I think it was a half marathon.
Oh no.
She had to run the half marathon in 2 different shoes.
Oh my God.
Oh wow.
I mean, I've done that with socks, but no. I mean, I think that if you showed up and you were in a bind, I think you could get what you needed at this expo.
Okay.
Yeah.
So getting to so we got we would go to the expo. We brought our passport to the expo.
We did.
Yes.
And then they told us to bring it with us to the race, which is good because I didn't know that we had.
Well, there wasn't, and that's a good point. There wasn't a ton of communication on so we didn't really know what to expect until we showed up, and they told us bring your passport, and we're like, oh, are they going to be like checking?
Like, we didn't know if they were going to check everybody because it's like, how do you.
Right, like it's just like a giant bottleneck. Like, are we going to make it through? But then that turned out to be a non-issue. But I will say there wasn't a ton of communication.
There wasn't. And we brought our passports to the expo. I don't even know if we read that we needed to bring our
Not until they told us, and then we got the magazine or whatever, the brochure, the race guide.
Yeah.
At the expo, and then we were back in the hotel later reading it, and it was like, bring this. You probably won't need it, but have it just in case.
Basically, they just wanted to make sure, they needed to see your bib, because the bib is proof that you showed your passport and you registered with your passport. You showed your passport, it matched. And so the problem is if you didn't have your bib visible. But when we were running through the tunnel, I heard some U.S. Border Patrol people that were like, okay, there's a guy coming through with gray shorts and a red hat. Like, they were describing people.
Yeah.
And so
Profiling people.
there were. But yeah, I mean, it's just really interesting that is a possibility that you could be detained while running a marathon.
Or flip side, that would be a pretty genius way to sneak into a country by just running a marathon.
I mean, Yeah,
Just saying.
that's true. I always joked back when I ran it, because when I ran it, Michigan didn't have legal weed or marijuana,
Yeah.
but Canada did.
Hmm.
And I was joking that like that'd be an easy way to sneak
Yeah.
like
It's some
weed on.
pot and come back in the country.
But now Michigan has legal weed, I think recreation and whatever.
Medicinal.
So like, yeah, so Michigan, Illinois, Ohio, Kentucky, all four of those have it. So like, it's not nearly as. I mean, I ran a domestic house, so I definitely didn't sneak nothing in because I never went over. Well, that time I didn't go to Canada. Okay, so we go to the starting line. Well,
Yes.
this is very okay. So the subtitle of this show is Tangents.
Yes.
But with okay, so how was the atmosphere at the start of the race?
So we were in one of the last corrals, and it was tight. But once again, it's all the half marathoners for the international half and the full marathoners. And we later saw that there was actually a sign, and I don't think a lot of the people saw it, that half marathoners were supposed to stand at the back of the corral and full marathoners were supposed. It was a hot mess.
So the corrals weren't really that
Like Walmart.
well done.
I mean, they were marked in the fact that we knew we were in Corral F, so we got into Corral F, but it was just like I saw people that were running the half that probably should have been a little bit further back, but it was kind of disorganized. It felt a little disorganized, but it wasn't like, at least it was marked and there were entrances. Like that's one thing that drives me crazy is when you get to a race corral and there's no way to get into the corral other than hopping over the gate. And
Yeah.
this old woman doesn't do that. So I have to, I at least that was nice that they were able to get into the corral, but it was just,
Honestly, I don't have a lot of memories of the start line festival, but I do have a lot of memories of the finish line festival.
do you, because you had a little bit to drink at that point.
No, but I spent 3 hours at the finish line festival. We'll get to that.
We'll get
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the race starts out.
Yeah.
You go over the bridge, the Ambassador Bridge.
Yeah. So
That bridge was, can we cuss on this podcast?
No.
That bridge was a jerk. It was
Okay.
yeah. So we start running mile 2, you start crossing over the Ambassador Bridge into 3. And I think the bridge is the most elevated part of the race. I mean, you see it on the race map. You're like, oh my gosh, mile 2, there's this huge hill. Well, no, it's not a hill. It's the bridge. So you go straight up. I mean, it is very steep. And then you come down. So our 3rd mile was actually one of our fastest.
We shaved a minute off. We added a minute to our 2nd mile and we shaved a minute off her
Yeah. So this race has a 6.5-hour timeline. And we knew that we need
time limit.
We needed to keep a
14:44.
14:50. No, it was like closer to 15 minutes. Because 13:44 is 6 hours.
Okay.
14:50 something is.
But at the same time, it's like, we all know that a marathon is longer than 26.2.
Yes.
So you really got to build out some extra buffer for that.
Yeah. So we are keeping track. Our training, we kept all of that. Our longest run was
16 miles. And then we did 4 the next day. So we did a weekend of 20 mile.
We did. And we ran our last full marathon May 31st. So this was, it was a summer of training, but we did, I traveled a lot.
It was hot.
It was hot. It's just,
I was going through some personal stuff. I'm no longer a married sister.
You're a sister, just not a married sister. And we're not married to each other. So.
Right. That's never been the case.
No, it's never been the case. But yeah, so, I wasn't sure how I was going to do. We kept our pace for these miles, but, still never got close to 20 that we wanted.
Right.
So yeah, we knew our pace slowed down going up the bridge, got a little faster going down the bridge. And once you got into Ontario, though, it was
lovely.
It was beautiful. The people were everybody was so nice. You had the Canadian, what do they call them over there?
Mounties. Yeah.
Mounties.
Yeah.
I had some Mounties out there, and they were just everybody was so nice and
Welcome to Windsor.
yeah, right. Yeah. So we enjoyed that. And then you start going back, you start seeing signs saying underwater, or you see tunnel to USA, and you're like, do I really have to go can I just stay here? But
So is there a dispensary nearby?
But so around mile 7 is when you start going through the tunnel. And at that point, well, before the race started, Monica and I talked and we're like, Monica's like, I don't know if I'm going to do the full. We're going to see how I feel. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. You know,
Well, my thinking, if I may, is that like I haven't been able to keep pace with her as well as we have in years past. Just, things got in the way of training the last couple of years. I've been through a lot of life changes and I haven't been as committed to my running. And I feel it when we do our long runs together. I'm trailing her by significant distance, and she's also a faster walker than me. And we do run walk intervals.
I have long legs.
So when we do our walk intervals, I am way behind her, and then I'm trying to like catch up, like a run to catch up when we start running again, and it wears me out. And so I just wasn't in a place physically where I believed that I could keep pace with her for the entire race, and I set that expectation early on.
Yep. And so then going into the tunnel, at that point, Monica's like, yeah, I'm going to run the half. And I'm like, okay.
No. I said, I'm going to send you ahead.
I
had a still run
yeah,
the full
yeah.
at that point.
So I said, well, I'm going to stay with you at least until after we get back in the United States. I just want to make sure that neither of us are detained.
Mm-hmm. Also, the tunnel, our watches weren't working.
Yeah,
which is a GPS surprise.
Didn't work.
But like you were way different on like where we were. So that was another kind of mental.
It was kind of a mental
difficulty. Yeah, and it was that like we were.
So I was like, are we at 7.5 miles?
Yeah.
Are we at 7.75? We really didn't know what our distance was at that point. So mile 8, you get back into Michigan, and Monica's like, all right, I'll see you at the finish line. And I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna text the entire time. Like, let's keep up, let's figure out where we are and what's going on. So I ran ahead, and
at that point I thought, okay, because the split is at mile 11, I have 3 miles to decide whether I can continue to run a full or if I need to cut back to the half. And the time limit for this marathon is 6.5 hours. I got to a point in mile 9, it was about mile 9, that the 6.5 hour pacer started to pass me. And I, at that point, thought, okay, do I want to finish a race today with dignity and like have finished a distance and get a medal? Or do I want to try to see how far I can get in the half before I'm swept?
the full.
Or the full, sorry.
But didn't you say that the 6.5 hour pacers said last chance?
The signs that they were holding said last chance pacers. And I was running with them for a little bit, not even a whole mile, but they were running for 15 seconds, walking for 30 seconds. But their walking was faster than my little legs could carry me. So I was like falling behind in a way that didn't feel sustainable for another 18 miles or whatever it would have been. And so at that point, I decided, if I can't keep up with these last chance pacers, I'm going to get swept off the course. And to me, it seemed like, it didn't feel, I wanted to feel like I accomplished something. And granted, it wasn't the thing that I set out to do that day when I woke up that morning, but I wanted to be able to cross the finish line and receive a medal.
Yeah. So I went ahead, and around the split, I was like, my brain was saying really mean things to me. And it's like, no, it'd be so easy just to split off and just do the half marathon today. And I am like just so relentless. I mean, I actually have a tattoo that says relentless. Relentless 26.2. Because when I put my mind to something, I get mad at myself if I don't accomplish it. So I'm like, no, I came here to run a full. And then I was just like, oh my God, this is so hard. And it wasn't that hard. It's not any harder than any other marathon. It wasn't hilly. It wasn't, anything. The hardest thing was that it was raining almost the entire time. It was cold. So when it wasn't raining, it was wet, and your shoes and socks get wet, and it's just uncomfortable. But around mile 11, I'm just like, oh, it'd be so nice just to cut off here. But, it's funny because Monica sent me a message when she finished, and I was around my mile 13, and I'm like, okay, well, I mean, here we go. I'm going to do, another 13.1 miles. Let's go. And she's like sending me pictures that she bought herself Well, I'm going to let you tell this part.
Yeah.
What happened when you finished your race?
Okay. So once I decided that I was going to run the half, I felt a mixture of relief and a little bit of disappointment because I felt like I was letting myself down. I felt like I was letting her down. But again, since we had a conversation ahead of time and we set expectations, I was grateful that she, I knew that she understood where I was in my training cycle and in my season as a runner. We all go through seasons, and sometimes, we feel great, and sometimes we get burnt out, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm a little burnt out. And once I decided to do the half, I walked a little bit more, but I did it. I finished and crossed the finish line. And of course, I'm wearing a full marathon bib. They're trying to divert me to finish in the full lane. And I'm saying, no, I ran the half. And they're like, yeah, but your bib's is full. And I was like, someone said that I could just finish in the half side. So I did. So I made them give me a half medal. And to this day, it's been a couple months since the marathon, but I tried to appeal my time and say, look, I actually ran the half. Can you count this time when I crossed the finish line as, that chip time is my half time and say that I had it. But right now, in the eyes of the Detroit Free Press Marathon, I DNF'd that race. And that's okay. But I made them give me a half medal. So I finished, and I immediately proceeded to a 7-Eleven that was right across the street from the finish line. It's raining and it's cold, and I was like, I really want a coffee. And so I go get a coffee. I get a coffee, I get a donut. I'm hungry. And then I was like, I should get her a beer. And so I go to the back cooler.
Now, keep in mind, this was after she ran the half, and I'm still running another 13.1 miles.
It's a few hours.
Yes. 3.5 more hours to go.
Yeah. So I go to the beer cooler. I get her a Mick Ultra.
A tall boy.
A tall boy.
24 ounces of Mick Ultra in a can.
And then while I'm there, I'm like, I should pick up a seltzer for me. I did something today. I ran 13.1 miles. I deserve a little treat.
In the cold and the wet.
Yeah, it was a tough race.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So do you know if they still make Four Loko?
They changed the formula.
Yes, it doesn't have caffeine.
Doesn't have caffeine in it, but I was still surprised. So I saw Four Loko in that cooler, and I said, "Fork, yeah, I'm
Fork, yeah.
I'm going to get one of these." And so I did, and
then the fun texting began as she started drinking this Four Loko.
So I go out. I've got plenty of time to kill before I know if she's going to finish her race. I'm hanging out, and this is where I want to.
Okay, we were staying right by the finish line. She could have gone back to the hotel.
I could have, but I was lost, and I also
was that before or after the Four Loko?
I know where I was. I mean, I could have figured it out. Honestly, I could have figured it out. But I also kind of felt like I needed to repent for the fact that I didn't finish a full marathon, and I left her out in the cold, literally. So I was like, no, I'm going to sit here in the rain. I'm going to watch this cover band play Pink Pony Club, and I'm going to drink. There was a cover band, and they were under a tent, and nobody was out there watching them because it was raining and it was cold. But damn it, I was. Darn it, I was. And so, but yeah, no, the Finish Line Festival, skipping ahead to that question.
Well, do you want me to kind of weave in?
Yeah. So you're still running. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still running. I'm running forever. But the second half, the back half of the course is pretty flat. It's great. I mean, the views are not too bad. I mean, it's not just back roads. There's actual things to look at. Ran by a couple breweries. I was so tempted around. Gosh, I think that one was about mile 15. There was one right on the corner. And I think I may have sent you a picture. I just may have said, hey, there's a brewery. I'm tempted of going in and seeing if they'll give me a to-go beer. Did not. Mile 18, we passed another brewery, and they have a little tent set up. And I was like, they were trying to get people to come in after the race. They wanted to advertise where they were. And I'm like, do you have samples? And they're like, no, that's for after the race. And they thought they were being cute. And I'm like, no, but I want it now.
Why do you have a tent set up along the course?
Yeah.
And you're from a brewery and you don't have beer set out.
Yeah, so here's a little bit of my thought on drinking during a race. I do it. I'm sorry.
Yes. We do it.
We do it. So we'll even bring our own little airline bottles of Fireball or, some little alcohol, just because I feel like it's a quick calories, like a shot of Fireball is like 150 calories or something. So
It's
it's
like 94 calories.
okay, whatever. It's quick calories regardless. It's kind of like a painkiller. If somebody hands me a beer, I'm totally gonna drink a beer. It's so refreshing. So refreshing. It's they say beer has electrolytes, so it's actually hydrating.
It's what plants crave.
Yeah, and hunters apparently. I feel like we're living in India. But anyway, so I am all for drinking on a course. I mean, like we've already established, like we're
that's how we met.
six and a half hour marathoners. We love to train, we love to run, we like to have fun. And so, when this brewery said that they didn't have, I was very disappointed. So I just kept running, and I've done so many races now where you go through neighborhoods and people are just sitting out, they're tailgating for races, and they offer you, or sometimes I ask, I'm like,
Fargo, we had to ask.
and it was fine.
Yes, but they thought it was funny. They were like, wait, you want to drink? You're running a marathon. We're like, that's exactly what we want.
And they wanted to take a picture with us.
Yeah, they thought we were like amusing.
Yeah.
No, this is like what we do. This is part of the course.
Yeah. Part of the course.
For the alleged race course.
Yes. So I did not get offered an alcoholic beverage until about mile 23. We ran through a neighborhood, and there was like these people in their like late 20s that were out front, and they're like, do you want a mimosa? And I'm like, do I want a mimosa? And I told them, I'm like, you are the first people to offer me a drink on this course. And they're like, because we're the best. And I'm like, yeah, you actually are. So I ended up drinking that, and as I was drinking it, I took out my phone to take a picture of it, and that was the exact timing that Monica tried to do a video call with me. Like, if I had not taken my phone out to take that picture, because my watch, I have no notifications while I'm running.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would not have even known. I probably wouldn't have felt the vibration because it was cold and wet. And so, yes. Yes. I was thinking, vibration. Oh. No, I was marking the fun. But yeah, so, yeah, thank goodness for Monica calling me, because then
I'm not gonna lie, I have no memory of calling you. That's the Four Loko for you.
She's in there being like, family. I had a little bit of face paint on her. Like,
well, so in addition to watching this cover band play Pink Pony Club in the Rain, one thing that I really liked about this Finish Line Festival is that they had a lot of food trucks. So I was able to get some really good poutine. No, it was a chili dog. I don't know. It was something topped with something in a...
Were there cheese curds involved?
Possibly. I just had something that was really yummy and fried and like hit the spot. But also they had a big merchandise tent. And so since I had decided mid-race to change my distance, and I also want to point out, this is something I didn't mention earlier, but when I was wavering on whether I could finish a marathon on this day ahead of time, there was no way ahead of time to change your distance. Most races have that option, like Rocket City Marathon, which I'm about, where we're all here recording this podcast today before we're running that race. Most races will let you change your distance ahead of time.
Yeah.
Detroit doesn't. And I don't know if it's because of the international component and if there's some
logistic issue.
Yeah. So, because we had another friend who was also in town to run the race, and she had registered for the full.
Yeah.
But she was injured during her training and knew going in that she was going to have to do the half. And she tried to figure out how she could officially convert her distance, and there was no official way to do it. And so she just determined, okay, well, I'll just run it and then like split off.
Yeah.
And so, I have 26.2 gear from this race that I did not run. And like, I'm like kind of a purist about it. Like, I'm not going to wear any kind of like, t-shirt from a race that I did not run. We attempted a full in
Madison,
Wisconsin that was rained out while running it.
Awful.
And I threw that shirt.
Rained out.
It got stormed out. Sorry.
Oh,
Yes, but it out. That's another story for
I feel like
that's a great story. That is, it ends with us in a box truck with about 20 other
it
people.
didn't end there.
No. That, I guess that was the middle of the story. But there's
We've got all kinds of tales.
yeah.
But so because there was like I have, I'm not going to wear my 26.2 Detroit Free Press Marathon shirt.
yeah.
So this was an opportunity when I was in this gear tent. I was, killing time, waiting for her to finish, but also I was like, you know what? I want some of this 17.1 on it. And like, yeah, I've got a medal too, like that I, made them give me. I also want some I also want some gear because like, I think also I was cold. But I want to also throw in the fact that I needed the extra layer. So I bought a shirt. I FaceTimed my boyfriend and his kids. I found a way to kill a bunch of time.
she FaceTimed me, didn't even know it.
Didn't even know. I forgot all about that. Poor Loco did its job. So at some point I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the finish line and do the course backwards. And I'm going to bring her this Mick Ultra that I bought her 3 hours ago at that 7-Eleven. And I'm going to find her and then we're going to run in together.
Okay.
Yeah.
As I'm walking to go find her on the course. And at this point, she said, I just crossed mile 24. So I'm like, great.
Yeah.
I'm going to make my way to you. We'll meet in the middle. We'll finish together. It's going to be awesome. I see one of these electronic scooters on the sidewalk. And mind you, I've never used one of these electronic scooters. I had to download the app to activate it. But I was like, oh my God, this is going to get me to her so much more quickly. And I can bring her this beverage and it'll be great. And again, as a reminder, I am on 23.4 ounces of Portland, which is a high APV beverage. It's like relative to the other things in the cooler that were next to it.
Yes.
Let me read our messages.
Oh yeah, let's see.
Yeah. So we're catching up. I passed Full Measure Brewing and I said tempted and she says, hell yeah, Finish Line Band is playing Pink Pony Club.
See?
It was like 18. She says, I just saw someone carrying you're running better than the government. Cross that off our list. So we have like an unofficial bingo card in our heads of all the signs that people make.
Oh, the other thing that I did, which I never do, I did a massage at the finish line.
Yeah, I was gonna say
One of those physical therapy people.
in line to get stretched.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I've always wanted to do this. And then, mile 19 was a little uphill because I said cruel for almost 19. And then I said Four Loco was still a thing. And she says, literally everyone who has seen it has asked that. OMG, that stretch was fabulous. I feel like a new get back in and run 13.1 miles. Oh, yeah. That was me taking a picture at mile 20. She says, yes, next stop, Marathon Town. That's an inside joke. Pitbull's playing at the Finish Line Festival, and he just said, this is for everyone going through tough times. Believe me, been there, done that. He's going to run a marathon. It's not as cold anymore, but I'm still bringing it to you. So I sent her a picture of me with my mimosa, and she called me at that moment. And I said, I have slightly more than 2 left and slightly less than an hour left. I'm at Lafayette and Bellevue. And she goes, on my way. And I said, so then she heads my way. So that's like, that was the last, because then she finds me.
And okay, so imagine this. I have run a half marathon and I'm wearing like my hydration vest, but I also have this brand new that I just bought, 13.1 quarter zip. I've got a Mylar blanket that is kind of wrapped around me in a way that's like flapping behind like a cape. I've got my half medal on. I've got a Tallboy Mick Ultra in my vest.
And so my eyesight isn't as good these days, but I see like this angelic body coming towards me on a Lime scooter with her cape flapping in the wind. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I think that's Monica. And she comes up and she like pulls this Tallboy Mick Ultra. Oh, she tells me, she goes, I'm sorry, it's tepid. And I'm like, yeah, she bought it 3 hours ago. So she pulls this Mick Ultra out of her vest. It looks like she's pulling it out of her shirt. And then she hands it to me. And around that time, we're going by a water stop, and someone's like, or no, there's some pacers that were like, oh my gosh, that's awesome. And then we go by a water stop, and someone offers me water. I'm like, no, I got my hydration. So I'm drinking on this tepid Mick Ultra.
And I'm slowly, like, she's scooting alongside her. Like, I'm on the sidewalk, she's on the road.
When she stepped up with it, like for a mile and a half, she scooted, I ran, I'm drinking some of my Mick Ultra. I'm like, I'm not going to drink all this right now, but I want this. Don't get rid of it. So she puts it back in her vest. And then we get close enough to the finish. So we were about mile 25 and maybe close. It's close to 26, but enough that I had to turn to go into the finish.
Yeah, and I couldn't go with her.
And so she pulled off.
Yeah.
And I just finished, and then she found me afterwards. But I'm like,
she's like, I'm sitting under a tree. This is my view.
Yeah. So I sent her a picture of where I was. Like, there's porta potties over here,
and she's vegan. And Impossible Foods, which is a plant-based meat company, had a tent at the finish line, and I was able to bring her some delicious buffalo sauced vegan chicken nuggets.
So I said, exited the chute, gonna sit for a spell. She says, where are you? I'll find you. I said, just past the chute by a large tree. I didn't make it far. She says, I'm bringing you Impossible Buffalo mugs. No. I said, or may still be at a chute across from the pretty building. And then I sent her a picture of the pretty building. She found me. She brought me my tepid Mick Ultra and some nugs.
Her hot spicy nugs.
I ate some nugs. I drank some more Mick Ultra. We walked back I stumbled back to the hotel. I always drink a beer in the shower. I always have to have a shower beer. So brought the Mick Ultra. I had another beer ready for the shower, but I'm like, well, I'm still drinking this one. And another one of our post-race traditions is to buy a bottle of sparkling wine and have that. So at one point, I'm still drinking this Mick Ultra, even after the shower, have my glass of sparkling wine. The hotel we were staying in had like a little bodega, and we were able to get like espresso martini in a bottle. What was the brand name of it?
Oh, that's On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
Yeah.
So at one point, I think I had like 4 beverages, including the water, which I should have been drinking after the race. But yeah, we definitely loaded up on alcoholic beverages. We did after the race.
And the Chiefs were playing, so as we were Normateching, she always packed.
I did not this time.
Yeah,
I didn't have room.
Yeah, thicker clothes take more space in the luggage.
Fleece line leggings take more space than shorts.
But
True.
But yeah,
True.
we had like a nice little downtime, watch Chiefs, drink our sparkling wine, and celebrate.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, it's a very different. The whole race. It sounds. Your experience was very good. The story was fabulous. I just enjoyed that. I enjoyed all of it. We didn't feature as much of the course as more, but the story itself was fabulous.
Well, there are some parts of the course that so we saw that T-shirt that had like all of the
So you do pass the Lion Stadium, you pass the Tiger State. Apparently, I don't remember seeing any. It's cold and rainy.
Just like I don't remember FaceTiming you.
But there is this T-shirt showed all the things. So you pass the Tigers, you pass the Lions,
pass the Bears. Oh my.
No.
Oh my bad.
What else? There's like some other things. I'm sure some Motor City stuff, like maybe some. I know we passed like a Motown mural, but like there's things that you pass that are like just Detroit icons. But when you are cold and you were just trying to take it one step at a time so you could finish and get through all the brain chatter, you're not necessarily paying attention to all the landmarks.
And unfortunately, that's one of the things that happens when you're having a bad day. You really don't take in as much of the sights when the weather is bad and everything else. You don't take in the sights like you normally would. And
when you're running alone, I feel like when we run together,
we point out stuff to each other.
we enjoy it together. So we've run so many races together, and for example, so we've run Disney World together twice. And the thing with Disney World is you run through all 4 parks. And, so we'd be like, oh, it's Cinderella's castle, or, but if you're running by yourself, you're just trying to get through. I feel like it's not as fun. You don't have anybody to share it with except for like the other people that are around you.
Or like another example would be when we ran the St. Jude's Marathon in Memphis, and you see 3 different angles of the giant
pyramid.
You see all 3 angles.
You see all of it.
But I mean, it's just like, oh, there's that. I mean, like, I think, we make each other more aware of our surroundings. Whereas, when you're running solo, I think you're just kind of focused on finishing and feeling okay.
And she and I will take pictures of things. And when I'm running by myself, I took a couple pictures, like me in front of the 20-mile sign with rain coming down the lens of the but it's like, I'm not as prone to like step aside and take pictures as if we're together and, taking pictures together or taking pictures with Snoop, sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember, Jill and I was pacing together. And at the time, this is when the Derby Marathon went into Indiana.
Oh.
It did that post-COVID for 21 to 23, I believe.
Instead of running parallel to the river?
Well, okay.
Because when
we ran in 24.
We ran in 24, and in the last, what was it, 5 miles, you ran 2.5 miles, or something like
that.
Right along the river.
No, it was a different. It was the same start line, same finish line, because when you all it finished by the soccer stadium.
Yes.
It was the same finish line as that. It's now since went back to the original marathon finish line.
Okay.
Which is closer to the start line. But I don't know if you remember the Big Four. There was a walking bridge. I don't know if you remember seeing that.
I think so.
It might not have been easy. Well,
when I was in Louisville earlier this summer, we found how easy it is to cross into Indiana. Like, you miss one exit and you are into Indiana.
Right.
So I can imagine that there's an easy path to get.
But the race doesn't go through there
not anymore.
At this point, yeah.
But it used to, and you cross over to Indiana, and then because you did the half in Louisville or Kentucky, which is Louisville, and then you crossed over and you went west along the river. And that's why when you said along the river, it threw me off, because you were on River Road when you ran it in 24, which is closest to the river.
Yeah.
But this is a Greenway Trail, which is, you can see the river the whole time. But
because the finish line was mile 21, and she found me at mile 21. She's like, you only have a little bit more to go. Just go out and back.
Yeah.
And I guess it was closer to 2 miles out and 2 miles back.
Yeah.
But that one, Jill and I, we were pacing, and we ran by the Falls of the Ohio State Park, which is a fossil bed in the Ohio River, and it's dammed off. And there's a Lewis and Clark statue there. Or no.
I remember the Lewis and Clark.
There's a different statue. It's a statue of one of the Native Americans, I think. I think it was one of the Native Americans who helped Lewis and Clark.
Sacagawea?
Sacagawea. No. It was a guy.
Oh.
It wasn't even. Yeah, it wasn't even Sacagawea. Well, either way, but but we were going along. She was able to peel off and go read the plaque, the informational plaque, the sign at that statue, and she was able to catch back up. We was in the pace group, which I guess if you was running on your own, technically you could have done that as well.
Yeah.
But having somebody with you, you might be a little more inclined to go off.
Yeah.
I mean, it was only like 50 feet off the path. It wasn't. It wasn't like she was running a quarter-mile distance.
Yeah, we probably would have. I mean, like, that's. We like the noteworthy things, like the things that are pretty cool about races. So for example, like, I'm trying to think, we've taken pictures at
so the New York City Marathon.
We took pictures of each
Queensboro Bridge. So we stopped off and did a selfie with the skyline in the background.
Yeah,
like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did you all? Okay. Yeah. No. So when you did the full, because I'm trying to look at the course map, and for Detroit, and as I look at the course map, I'm following along because I did the domestic, but at the same time it might have changed since 18. Did you run out here? I think it's called Bell Island. Did you run out? It's in the Detroit River. Did you run out in that island area or not?
No, we just ran around. Yeah, I know. I think we just ran around Windsor. We didn't go.
Well, this is the domestic part.
Right.
So
I
after
don't
you do the
remember
full,
this-
you do the full over here.
Yeah, I don't remember running across a waterway.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Here, I'll pull up my course.
Okay. While you're looking that up, and that's one of the things that with when I try to interview different people with a podcast is that the further away you ran the event, the course might have changed for whatever reason because there's construction happens or permits change or the city wants you to run different courses. Louisville itself has ran 4 different courses, or I have ran 4 different courses
Yeah.
since 17.
Right.
One race I went in what was called the Highlands, and they no longer do the Highlands. And then another course was, I called it the COVID course because you ran into Indiana, and then the mayor wanted it back into all of Louisville, all the course in Louisville.
Mhm.
So you went back to Iroquois Park where all the, when you went to that park where it was all hilly.
Around mile 13 or 14. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they took that out
They
in
should have kept
20.
it. They should have kept it out.
Well, in 20.
That was the worst one of that race.
That is the worst part of that. Well, it was the worst part of that race was actually Highlands because after you did that, you would come down Jefferson, the main drag there, and you would enter the Highlands, which you made a right turn on Jefferson Street, which doesn't mean anything to y'all, but you make a right turn and it's almost at mile 20. And as you make the right turn at mile 20, you turn, you see this big hill, which is called I called it the Wall.
Oh,
And everybody's like, oh, I'm familiar with the Wall. And I'm like, no, you aren't. This is a physical.
like trying to scale this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking at your, so that's the things, looking at your course now.
Yeah, they changed the courses depending on like construction or other things that are going on. But it looks like with your course, you crossed somewhere around Gabriel Richard Park, and we never did. And we just did the Indian Village and came across, and so a lot that matches exactly. But it's
Now, over here, as I'm looking at your course, as you didn't go over to the island, but you have a part where you go into Eastern Market.
Mhm.
Is a neighborhood. It's near Interstate 75, and I don't know that Gator Avenue.
Gatio.
Is that where? Well, you didn't remember seeing the stadiums.
Yeah, I don't remember much except for like just trying to finish. But yeah, it's so Comerica Park is there was Comerica Park, and then Ford Field. So I mean, we definitely ran by everything. I just don't remember anything.
I will say, okay, not to knock on the Detroit Marathon because it's still a great race overall. When I ran Pittsburgh Marathon, you run by Three Rivers Stadium, which is where the Pittsburgh
Pirates,
Steelers. Yeah, Steelers.
Yeah.
Steelers is Three Rivers. You and when you run by it, it is the road that borders the stadium.
Okay.
It's not because you're on the other side of the interstate.
Yes, you are removed from it. You do run by it, but it is not like directly. It's not like you get to see it. Like.
Yeah. And then whereas with the Detroit Marathon or the Pittsburgh Marathon, you're taking a selfie with the Three Rivers.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we ran
Colfax, and you get to run through Mile High Stadium. And I yelled out, "Go Chiefs!" And they didn't appreciate that. I don't know why.
They don't let you. Well, they don't want you to touch the grass, which I don't fully understand because it's turf.
Yeah.
Like it's not like it's natural grass is going to get worn out. But either way, it's their park. It's their rules.
We ran right by Mom's Spaghetti.
What?
The M&M restaurant.
Oh,
Man.
is that on 8 Mile?
That was at mile 1.
Oh, not 8 Mile.
No, it was. Wait, that's right.
Okay, so you do get to see different highlights, different areas. You don't always know it unless you know it sometimes.
Totally.
And that's why, like when I pace Derby, I pace Monumental, those are the two that I repeat the most.
Mhm.
Well, I call myself the unofficial tour guide because as we're running, I'm pointing out, okay, after the race, you might want to stop here on your way to the airport and get some cookies because like there's a great Jewish deli.
Mhm.
And I remember Mike Pence when he was vice president. He's from Indiana. Mike Pence, who was a vice president under Trump, his first term.
Yep.
He they did a whole press thing about him going to this particular restaurant, and I mean, love him or hate him. I don't want to get deep into politics necessarily. Typically, when a politician goes to a restaurant, the restaurant is a certain. When they feature going to a restaurant, it's kind of a local staple type of restaurant.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're not going to feature a president or somebody going to like a TGI Fridays or Olive Garden. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
But like, and it is a restaurant of the people, more or less, because like it's affordable for. So like when I do, that's one of the good things. If you're near a pacer, I am a pacer at a lot of races. That we, if we're familiar with the area, we can say, oh, on the left there's this restaurant, on the right there's this.
Yeah.
The art center is here, and the science center is here. Which, getting back to the whole, running with a friend or somebody, that helps change your whole
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, your perspective.
So okay, so we went to the race, we went to the course, we went to the finish line, we went to the Four Locos family, we went to the jug. I was going, I'm going to edit that part out because I don't want people to know why I keep saying family. So you go through the Four Locos, you go through the Mick Ultras, you go through the Bubblies. Okay, so I know that we go to breweries.
Yeah.
Do you go to any specific brewery after the race? Is that something you normally do, or?
So normally, yes. So normally, I do like to look for breweries, but this one, we didn't actually go to any breweries. We kind of hung out at the hotel bar. I drank some local beers there. But it was just such a nasty day that I didn't want to get out. And there wasn't anything that was really within walking distance. And I mean, we're not we Uber places, but because this was downtown, we kind of skipped that one. But yeah, normally if we're running, I mean, tomorrow we already have plans for what brewery we're going to hit after the race.
Yes.
So, I mean, we definitely do hit for a lot of breweries. And Monica's not a huge beer drinker. She's kind of crossing over to the dark side. She's more of a cocktail person. So we try to find places that she'll be happy, I'll be happy, but I'm still trying to work on her.
I'll drink a beer in a pinch.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm dating a CEO of a brewery.
And a Cicerone.
So, okay. Then, okay, travel is always an issue. Well, I shouldn't say always an issue because if you live in Northeast Indiana, Detroit's not that far away, or if you live in like Toledo, travel time is one thing. But if you live in Kansas City, or like just the interview with a friend of mine, he lives in LA, and we were talking about the Charlotte Marathon. So you can't factor in travel into the next question. That question being, would you do this race again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, the first half was hard because of the Ambassador Bridge, but the second half was almost flat. There were a couple hills, but nothing like that was not repeatable. I mean, like, yeah.
And I want to do the full. I want to come back and I want to run the full.
Okay. The Detroit full, or you want to do Grand Rapids? I mean, Detroit, you did leave a few things on the plate.
Yeah.
You did go to Moss Spaghetti.
Maybe I'll do the half.
Oh.
And then she could run the full.
And then you bring me like,
you're a loco. Oh, yeah, a loco.
Come on now. I have to go closer.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, if we could do it again, so Monica said we had friends in town that one of them she ended up doing the half marathon. We did get to spend some time with them. We went to kind of a dive bar around the corner, and like I wanted a Labatt, but I ended up drinking a Molson. So, I'm like, when you're that close to Canada, I feel like you have to have a Canadian beer. It's craft beer, like it's not anything that's super complex, it's like a Vic Ultra. But at the time I was like, this is what I want, because I wanted something that was kind of Detroit, like I'm that close to the border. I'm gonna get a Canadian beer, and the Molson wasn't too bad. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely some breweries we would have hit. So one thing that we do when we travel for races is we'll go do escape rooms. The closest escape room was actually in Windsor, and
Detroit's an escape room.
well, we're like, we don't know. I mean, an Uber's not going to take you across the border. So we're like, I don't know how. Well, I did some research. I'm like, can we Uber to Canada? And the answer was, I wouldn't. So yeah, we're like, could have done escape rooms, but we would have to figure out how to get to Canada. There weren't any close to downtown Detroit. So probably figuring out something. I mean, but it was nice because
It was a good weekend.
we did it. Like it was a lot lower key.
Than how we usually travel for races, but
So
I think we both needed that too.
and that's the difference between us. Like, I am the kind of person that wants to go. I like to like do things. I like to go visit breweries or go to bars or do something unique that is specific to that city. Sometimes Monica just prefers to like
I just want to take a nap. I'm so tired.
take a nap or watch Netflix or like do something that's
This is supposed to be my vacation, and you're having me running around all these places
yeah
on top of running a race.
I didn't travel all this way not to see the city.
yeah.
That's fair.
But okay, so the questions I always ask, two more questions I always ask that are not pertinent to the exact race that we were talking about. What watch do you use?
Garmin.
So my husband works for Garmin. He's not in the fitness group, but I have a Phoenix, and
You have the 8X?
I think this is the 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the Phoenix 7.
He's about to get robbed.
So I say I want a new watch, but I ran with a Forerunner for the longest time. But yes, a Garmin, I like it because I have my Garmin Connect app. I have all the races that I've run. I can easily look up which marathons. I can look at the marathon badge and see which races or what runs it's recorded as a marathon. I like it. And then this watch also helps me with other stats like my sleep, my HRV, my breathing variations was something they've added recently. There's a lot of things that I'm a math nerd, so being able to measure my stats is kind of a cool thing.
And I only care about pace and distance. Those are like really the only metrics that I need. I mean, heart rate's also very important to me. So I just wear a Garmin Forerunner, like I have the one with the music on it, but I've never used that feature.
Yeah.
But it's one of the
I think you have like the
entry level.
245 probably.
240.
I'm not even wearing it now. That tells you how much I care.
And I never take mine off except to charge it, and it's only when I'm going to be completely sedentary. So I keep this on at all times.
It's not where the Garmin 965.
The triathlon.
Well, okay, so I bought the 965. I'd ordered it, and then I was at the expo for actually Pittsburgh Marathon, and my watch hadn't came in yet, but there was a booth across from the Pacer booth,
Okay.
and they had a 965 for sale, and I said, "Do you have that with a yellow band?" Guy said, "Yes." I said, "Put one to the side." He said, "Yes." So I switched from the Phoenix 6X to the 965 because the 6X has an MIP display, the memory in pixels, which is less vibrant of a color, and I think it only has 64 colors in the face. And then the Garmin 965 has somewhere around 5,000 colors,
Okay.
and it's a OLED display.
Yeah.
AMOLED. It's an AMOLED display.
Yeah.
So it's much more vibrant. It's much more colorful, and it's nice to look at just when you're wearing it for like daily use to tell time. It's to me it's better. It's more appealing than the Phoenix, and then the map display is a lot better. With the 965 over the 6X, having that
Sure.
color display, that large color display. And then having the dual band GPS was a bonus, but it wasn't, I mean, it wasn't as, it was attractive until I bought it.
Yeah.
And then once I bought it and started using that compared to the 6X, because I also, well, I don't do as much recently, but I mountain bike as well. And it was, with trail running, it was a little more accurate with trail running, the dual band GPS. But with mountain biking, which both of those I do use for mountain biking, the difference really came in when I bought a speed sensor for my my bicycle that I put on my front wheel. So once I put that on my hub, that gave me, because I was doing a ride with friends.
Do you just have the speed sensor, or do you have the cadence sensor as well? Because I find
I
that,
just had a speed sensor.
okay, yeah, both of those when they work, because I used to be a road cyclist. Well, we both used to road cycle, and I found that that was like a lot more accurate than trying to pick up on what you were doing just based off the GPS. Like, I feel like you need those sensors.
I mean, for me, the cadence sensor wasn't as big of an issue, or a feature, I should say, but the speed sensor gave me a more accurate distance.
Okay, yeah.
And it was enough that I didn't feel I also needed the cadence sensor.
Gotcha.
But it's the thing is that, and what I get at really with this whole issue, because recently I did a episode, trying to remember if it'll be released or not before this episode. Yeah, it'll be at the beginning of the season. This episode, the episode I'm about to refer to, will be released at the beginning of this season. Is the she was in my friend, she was in the Glass City Marathon, and when she did the Glass City Marathon, we did the interview, we were speaking of which watch or how we track our running, and as I was talking to her, she was saying that she only runs using a Strava on her phone.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, my friend Heather, she mainly uses the Strava on her phone.
Yeah.
And then I had another friend, and she does, I believe she's done several fulls. I forget her exact count off the top of my head. I can't remember everybody's count.
Gosh.
So
As long as you remember that we're Hall of Famers or whatever it was.
and then I have a friend of a friend. Actually, I know her. I just didn't realize I knew her. She paced Chicago Marathon, and she uses a Timex watch.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah,
I've known people that's what they need. They don't want all the stats because it kind of gets in their head. And then
Yeah.
I can relate to that.
so
Coach Jen was that way.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you have a running coach, that's a different story, because they might want the data to help analyze things, to help guide you better.
Right.
But if you're listening to this podcast on your phone, you have a way to track your distance.
Yeah.
It's not the most accurate, and it's not the easiest to check your pace while you're running and everything else, but you have what it takes to get started. And remember that Steve Prefontaine, who ran for Nike back in the 60s or 70s, he didn't have a GPS watch because they didn't even have, well, I can't remember when GPS was developed, but it wasn't for the public yet.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a lot faster than me, you, or you.
Right.
He was faster than any of us, and he didn't have a GPS watch.
Yeah.
And the other question I asked, for basically the same reason, is what shoes do you run in?
Asics Gel Kayano. And I have been in these since almost the start of running. Is that what you run into?
Yes.
Heck yeah. Those are the best. Oh, those are the 31s. So the ones I have on now are like my old just walking around shoes. These are 30s. I'm trying to remember if the ones I'll run in tomorrow are 30s or 31s, but I found, like, I did one of those gait analyses when I first started running, and they gave me a bunch of shoes, and I like the Asics, and I like the gel because I kind of pronate a little bit. I don't know if I over or under pronate. I don't supinate. I don't know. I don't remember which one it is, but they felt good, and then I just stayed with it. Like, I started buying them direct from Asics instead of going into the running store, or sometimes what my trick is so the shoe that's currently in season is about 160. The shoe that is just the past season is like 120, and then the shoe is like 2 seasons ago is like 99 or something. And so like, I don't need to be in the most up-to-date season. In fact, 30 and 31 have been my favorite because they have like more of the foam in the heel. It's more cushion than the 28 and 29 when 27, I think, when I first started running. And so, yeah, I've just stuck with those, and I probably could go in for another gait analysis at some point, but I really like it. It's good.
And I, for many years, wore Sauconys, and probably about 10 years or so. And then in the last 2 years, I converted to Hokas. And I mean, my body changed over that frame of time. My weight changed, and I found that the shoe that I'm wearing to run in this body is not the same shoe. It doesn't make sense for that to be the same shoe that I ran in when I was half of the size that I am now. And so I started trying Hokas last year, and I found that they gave me more support, and I really have enjoyed them. Now, when I replaced the shoes that I started wearing when I started running in Hokas, the next model up, or the same model, but the next year or whatever, I don't know how they classify those, but it did not support me in the same way. And so I'm now kind of on the hunt for my next shoe. Once I get through this race with the same shoes that I wore for my last marathon in May, I'm going to have to retire these and figure out my next steps.
And see that I run in the, what was these again?
Asics Gel Kayano.
I run the Kayanos right now. I ran in Hoka Gaviotas. I've Mizuno Horizon Wave, Brooks Adrenaline GTS. I think that's all the shoes I've ran in. I did have a pair of Skechers I sent back, I think, and I had a pair of Nikes I ran 3 miles. No, the Nikes I sent back. The Skechers, I should have sent them back, but I didn't. Or did I? I can't remember. I've been running for, I don't know, 7 years or something like that now.
Mm-hmm.
But you speaking of the gait analysis really gets to the better point of all of the conversation about shoes, which is running the shoes that fit your feet.
Yeah.
What shoes I run in, what watch I run in. There's people out there who ran 3, 4, 5,000 miles, and they run faster than me and they don't wear my shoes, or they run slower than me and they don't run my shoes. I could have sworn when I ran with Raven, who he's a streak runner. He's ran 8 miles every day since New Year's Day 1978.
Whoa.
Also, it's the same 8 miles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He's ran the same 8 miles.
God.
So, I mean, 8 times 365 times however many years, you do the math. I don't have the time. He doesn't run with a GPS watch.
Yeah.
So and he's only ran one race to my knowledge. He's ran 1.5 marathon. And yeah. So I mean, it's not the watch that's going to make you or break you. It's not going to be the shoes. It's not going to be because you don't run in the Nike,
right,
the Vaporflies, or the or whatever carbon-based whatever shoe is out there now. That's not going to be the difference between you finishing a marathon or not. It's going to be the shoes that makes your feet comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also people tell me, I mean, you hear all the same things like, oh, running's bad for your knees. It's not bad for your knees if you're in the right shoes. Like if you are properly aligned and you're wearing the shoes that are going to be most appropriate for what your feet need or what your ankles need or what your knees need, then you're able to run for a really long time. Like it's not a matter of, oh gosh, one day your knees are gonna go bad because you've been running for however many years. It's if you're able to take care of your body as you run and you give yourself the proper gear, you give yourself the proper recovery time, that's what's going to keep you running into the future. And no, my knees don't hurt. And I've been running for 12 years, and you're probably closer to 15 now, aren't you? Or
I ran my first 5K in 2012.
Okay.
And I remember, speaking of that, I met with his osteosurgeon. We were mountain biking, and I was fixing his bike, oddly enough. Hey, everybody knows what they know. And we were talking. I said, well, I'm going to have to see you in a little bit. And he was like, why do you say that? I said, well, I was talking about PT, and yeah, he's not a doctor. He's like a doctor, but he's not a nurse practitioner. He's a different, he goes up a different path, basically.
Okay, yeah, like a DO instead of an MD.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I was like, yeah, my doctor, I call my doctor because
Sure.
it's just easier.
yeah,
I was like, I was complaining about, knee problems one day, and he said, oh, you're going to have, such bad knee problems soon. Or he said, you're going to have so bad knees or whatever. And the surgeon was like, that, no, there's no telling. I was
Yeah.
like, huh? He goes, like, this is what I do for a living. I'm like, that's what I do. And he's like, it's runners come in, non-runners come in. He goes, sometimes he's like, there's no telling on your on getting your knees replaced necessarily, of whether or not, if you was a runner, you might not need it, or you might need it. There's no indicative fact from,
Everybody's physiology is
Yeah.
different.
yeah.
I broke my fibula a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
So I fractured it, stupid fall, like it wasn't even anything fun. And but I recovered quickly, and I think it's
No Four Loko involved.
no for nothing, no alcohol.
Shocking.
But yeah, I mean, I think because I was running and I was fit before I broke it, that I was able to get back to it. And this will be my third marathon since I broke it. So, yeah, I feel like if you take care of your body will take care of you.
Okay, so as we wrap things up here, and before we go out for dinner or lunch, whatever,
Beer.
yeah, we're going to be visiting another brewery or three before the night's over.
Yes.
Is there any closing words you want to leave everybody with? We'll let you go first on this one.
About Detroit or about running in general?
Oh, well, running in general or life. I mean, like anything inspirational, anything, any closing words, really.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so I'm in a different place with my running than I was like 3 years ago if we would have had this conversation. And I'm currently kind of burnt out from running. I alluded to that earlier in this episode, and I am planning to take a hiatus after we get through tomorrow's race. And when I started running, I was half the body weight that I am now, and it's discouraging sometimes when you've gained weight and you're still trying to run. And I guess I would say that for me, what's been really helpful is kind of trying to show myself grace and meet myself where I'm at, and to remind myself that a runner's body is a body that runs, and that it doesn't need to look a certain way as long as it carries you across the starting and finish lines.
Yeah. I would say mine is the power of positive thinking. So I run 5Ks with I have two daughters, a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old. And my 10-year-old, she likes to run. She has fun. She's pretty, she's just doesn't care about anything just in life. My 12-year-old, she really gets in her head. And, I mentioned it when I was talking about my race in Detroit, that I started getting in my head. But I truly believe what you tell yourself, you will believe. So if you tell yourself positive things, like, I've got this, I'm going to finish this race today, I feel good, your brain actually believes that. And I have a psychology degree, and that's true. Like, your brain believes what you tell it. And so I would say a marathon is mostly mental. Yes, it's physical. Put in the training, know your body can do the miles that you need to do. You don't have to run 26 miles to prove that you can run 26 miles, but run a good distance so that you can get the physical under. You can start understanding what your fuel strategy, your hydration strategy, electrolyte strategy looks like. But the rest of it is mental. And if you're telling yourself, I feel like crap, or my body is not able to do this, you will feel like crap and your body won't be able. And I ran a 5K with, Monica and I ran with my girls this on Thanksgiving, and I ran with my 12-year-old, and she stayed with me the entire time, but she was telling me all the excuses why she didn't want to run. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah, it is cold out here. Our legs do hurt. Our lungs do hurt. But if you keep telling yourself that, you're going to feel weaker and you're not going to want to finish. Tell yourself, I'm out here. I got out of my bed this morning. Most of the people did not. I'm here and I'm going to finish this race. And she finished and she felt great afterwards. And there is something about, I consider every marathon like childbirth. Like it's painful while you're in it. And then you somehow not forget about the pain, but you excuse the pain. You're like, you know what? I want to do that again. That was fun. And so then you sign up for your next race. And I feel like let the endorphins, let the adrenaline get you through. Feel the pain, but don't dwell on the pain, and just tell yourself that you can do it, and you will.
I want to add a counterpoint to that. I feel like I agree with that. But I also think it's really important to listen to your body.
Well, yes. And
if you are,
first and foremost, yes, listen to your body. If you are not trained up for it, don't try to run a race.
Yeah. Or if you for whatever reason, you're under the weather, you're underfueled, you're underhydrated, and you really have no business running 26 miles, it's okay. There's no shame in doing what's right for your body in that moment.
Yeah.
But it's a fine line, right? Like sometimes you convince yourself that you can't do it because you don't really want to do it. And so it is really trying to understand what is right for me in this moment and what can I actually do and what can I overcome that like my brain is telling me I can't.
Yeah. And I was more referencing the point when I was in Detroit around mile 11. And I'm like, I know I can run a marathon. This wasn't my first. That was my 28th. I knew I had it in me, and trying to talk myself out of it. I wasn't talking about like, I never run more than 5 miles and me trying to run 26. There's a big difference between that.
For sure.
I would say, I don't know if you're familiar with the movie. I believe it's called The Recruit. It's a football movie from the 90s. And in it, the main star or whatever, the main actor, he's in his first game and he's doing like a crossing route or something of that nature, I forget. And he gets drilled by the opposing team. And, he catches the ball or whatever, and he just gets drilled, and he's laying on his back, and the coach comes out there and he's like, "You okay?" And he's like, I forget don't quote me exactly on this part, but he says like, "I'm injured, coach." He goes, "Are you hurt or are you injured?" He goes, "Well, what's the difference?" He goes, "Injured means you can't play." He goes, "No, I'm just hurt." And it's kind of, I always say that a lot of times for people who are going through a hard spot in their marathon, I say that we get to choose our suffering. Mm-hmm. Today is a day that we get to choose our suffering. Now, if you have a cramp in your calf or cramp in your hamstring, that's one issue. If you have a stitch in your hip, or if you have, like there was one point when I actually went and got a MRI done because I thought I had a broken bone in my foot, because I thought I did. Well, that's two different things. So when that happened, I took 2 weeks off of running completely because it turned out not to be a broken bone, but it was a soft tissue damage. That wasn't something that, you can just power through.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's going to make things worse. But I have had races where I had, a side stitch.
Yeah.
And it's like, this hurts a lot, but it's not something that by keeping going, I will do further damage to my body.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that it's, the wisdom is knowing the difference, right? Like, having the courage and the grit to power through, but also understanding when the right time is to do that, and when when the right time is to say, I am going to risk injuring myself or making myself sick if I continue.
And I think that's where the difference in a rookie, well, not a rookie versus a veteran, but if you ran 300 miles or you've ran 3,000 miles, just being honest, if you're closer to the 300 category, you're probably not, or 300 mileage, you're probably less familiar with your body. You're less, you don't know as much about your body giving you these signs. Whereas if you ran 3,000, 4,000 miles, that's when you can tell a difference in how your foot is falling and how your left toe is feeling. And you're like, you can know it at 3,000 feet, that at 5 miles, you're going to have a blister between your big toe and the toe beside it. Just because you've ran so many miles
Oh, I lose a toenail after every race, it seems.
I have yet to lose a
Oh
toe.
my gosh, I lose. It's my
Not that I'm complaining.
second toe on both feet they're currently bruised, and I know that one of them's going to fall off soon. And I've lost my big toenail. I've lost probably close to almost every toenail on both feet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I mean that's a badge of honor. or a badge of like I need longer shoes, wider toe box or something.
We're going to figure this one out.
It's a badge. No.
It's a badge nonetheless.
I don't get charged as much for pedicures.
She gets the 8-toe discount.
Yeah.
All right. Well, once again, to the Married Sisters, I want to thank you all for being on the show. I really appreciate you all being here, giving me your time, going over the Detroit Marathon, the course itself, and the story that you all had. It's fabulous to hear these things, and it'll make it's just great to hear these things, and it's inspirational. It's something that some runners would love to have these. We all have different stories. Some stories are less to tell than others, and some are stories you don't want to tell because whatever reason. But yes, this story about the Detroit Marathon, I'm glad that both of y'all shared it, and I'm glad that everybody came through. I'm glad that that you didn't get sucked into the ICP family.
There's still time for that.
There's always time for
Thank you for letting us share this story, and thank you for your continued friendship and camaraderie in the running community. We
you meet a lot of people during races, and you try to keep up with them, but we actually have kept up with each other, and we've run others together. So
yeah, I'm grateful for this friendship.
yeah,
Me too. I very much so. I just want to remind everybody out there. I want to remind everybody to like, subscribe, comment. If you're on certain apps, they let you comment. Download this podcast. Download other episodes of the podcast. That way, in case you're on an airplane or you're running, like say you're doing a trail run and you have bad reception, you'll be able to listen to the podcast and things of that nature. Or you're inside of a warehouse building and you have bad reception inside the warehouse. I don't know. Also, it helps out the analytics, apparently, if you're going to go for different stats. But either way, don't forget to like, subscribe, or else you will wake up one morning and realize that you had way too many Four Locos the night before. And now it's race day.
Too soon.
or like my preteen daughters say, is smash that subscribe button.
Yes.
Got to smash it.
Smash that Fort Loco.
Don't forget, and remember to run the race you're in, and forward is a pace.